Well, welcome to DIY with James Horton.
A few things you might need. A hammer, multi-purpose screwdriver, a pair of channel locks, preferably something bigger or maybe a pipe wrench. And this is a handy tool that comes with purchase of any of your disposals from Home Depot. Not sponsor affiliated there.
So let's get started. Today we are replacing a disposal. It is sometimes possible, however, to simply reset the device and free anything that might be jamming it. Here you notice there is a reset button that looks like it's been corroded by water. There in the center. And there is the port for where you would put your disposal wrench to unjam possibly anything if it is jammed. However, this disposal itself is toast, and we will be replacing it with a new one. As you can tell, things are seriously jammed inside, and it is already starting to leak actually underneath the disposal, so water is coming through this specific disposal. One day we're going to have to fix those pipes as well. The disposal wrench is also used to remove the disposal locking ring, but a screwdriver can also work in these holes. Basically you just stick it in the hole, twist it counterclockwise, and the disposal will come down from the locking ring. While you're here, you can also take a peek at the strainer collar and take a peek at any kind of gasket leaks or maybe broken putty. Before we get started though, first thing we need to make sure is we unplug the disposal. So make sure you go in, find where the wires go, and unplug the disposal. You can also adjust this, remove the strainer with a adjustable screwdriver. These bolts here, as you can see, I'm trying to get you a good view, will also give you an opportunity to be able to remove the collar and strainer ring. I'll show you a better view later. But there's 3 of them, and that's what tightens the locking mechanism to the strainer of the sink. So, like I said, let's get started. And what we do first is we're going to unplug the disposal. Let's unplug the disposal. Once you've unplugged the disposal, you want to take your channel locks or pipe wrench and loosen the 90-degree elbow from the extended 1.5 inch pipe to the trap and allow any remaining water to drain in a catch pan or bowl. You see, remove the 1.5 inch nut. So you see, you want to remove the 1.5 inch nut, turning it counterclockwise and pushing it up. Up underneath there is a gasket as well, so be sure that you don't damage either of those, and you're going to need them later. So now that you've got everything unplugged, you're going to use the disposal wrench and unlock the disposal counterclockwise from the strainer collar and remove it from the sink. Careful not to damage any of the plumbing as you do this. Sometimes you do run into issues to where you might have to replace a pipe because of how tight or how broken they might be. Be sure when you take it out that you drain the disposal by flipping it upside down in your catch-all pan. Be sure not to get anything stuck or trapped on anything while you're removing it. Here's a better view here of the strainer collar screws. There's 3 of them. If you loosen that, then you can actually take that strainer off and replace it with a new one. However, this one doesn't have any leaks or cracks in the putty, so we're going to keep it and go on to the next. Well, now we're ready to get started moving everything to the new one and get it ready to install. In the box, you'll find a bagged kit, a new strainer, and disposal locking collar and stopper, of course. These screws are really the same as the other strainer, but we're going to use the old one, so we won't need that. And of course, the disposal. The disposal has a dishwasher attachment and a 90-degree elbow for the drain. We will have to transfer the old cord to the new disposal and put the old 1.5-inch pipe gasket and nut on. And here is the plate of where the wires are hidden. So now we got to transfer everything over. So I'm exposing the wiring to the plate that's underneath this plate. And every disposal kit, like I said, comes with one of these fancy disposal wrenches. We now have 2, but however, we don't need them both, so we'll only use the one. Because with a 90-degree elbow, a gasket, and a plate to attach it, as well as the screws for the drain. You do notice that there is no 1/2-inch pipe nut or gasket. Once you've revealed the wires, you'll see that there's 2 positive and negative and a ground. The cable that is on the current disposal will have a ground, and it's important, being that this is in the water, to make sure that you transfer that over and it's tight as well. So you reveal the plate for that one, and we undo all the wiring connections. One thing to be sure of is that since we are dealing with electricity and water, you want to be sure to use a 3-prong cord like this one. The 3rd cord to round it in there is the ground. Once you reveal the wires, you want to undo all of the connections and take note of which wire is connected where. Black is usually a positive, white neutral, and green is ground. These wire nuts seem to be pretty good, so we're going to try to reuse them. You can simply remove the wire from the old disposal by turning it counterclockwise. The clamp there that's holding the wire into the disposal, if you turn it clockwise, it'll pull right out eventually. Once you got it out, now you can straighten out the wire because it gets twisted up as you turn it out like that, and you can transfer it over to the new one. Just about get everything done with the old one, so we can push that out of our way. We're going to put the new 90-degree pipe on first. You throw the gasket onto the 90-degree elbow, 1.5-inch pipe. Make sure that the disposal is good and free from any debris. Usually you don't have to worry about that unless you're doing the dishwasher kit. But then you take the clamp, put it behind the gasket on the 90-degree elbow, as you can see there. Now we'll put this onto the disposal and the drains part of the disposal. Take the 2 screws that came in the kit and put them in the 2 holes lined up with the plate. Tighten it as tight as you can possibly get it, without damaging the gasket or the elbow. This dishwasher has, or this disposal has a dishwasher kit hole that you would usually knock out. In this case, we don't need to, because the dishwasher is actually connected to the other sink via a different style pipe. So we don't have to do it on this one. And since we don't, we can move on to the next step, which is about the last one, almost, putting the wires back together on the new disposal. And we also want to make sure we bring over the 1.5 inch pipe nut and gasket from the other disposal. Of course, the nut goes on first and the gasket after. This connects the pipes from the 90-degree elbow to the pipes inside underneath the sink. Now, let's put the wire in. When you're putting it back in, you're going to have to twist the clamp into the disposal, and when you do, you want to make sure you hold the wires in the hole, so that way as the wire starts to turn and twist inside, it doesn't bunch up and pull your wires in to where you can't get them. Believe me, you want to hold on to the wires as you do this part. Just let them twist in your hand as you hold them out, because if you don't, it'll get bunched up and you'll never get the wires out. Start with the ground. Take the green wire, make sure the wire is nice and tight, twisted. Put the twisted ground wire back around, loop it around the ground post inside the disposal. Tighten it up. Oh, ouch. Slow down, James. Make sure it's nice and tight. The wire nuts from the old disposal were good, so we're going to use them again in here. You can also use orange ones. These gauged wires will work also with orange wire nuts. Twist the white to the white, black to the black, neutral to neutral, positive to positive. And I tend to, when I take and turn my wire nuts, I like to twist it down until I start to see the wire actually twist outside of the wire nut. If you notice here, there's just a little bit of a twist. I'll do the same thing to the neutral. Oh, lost my light. Battery's dead. Oh well. Alright, stuff the wires back in and we'll put the plate back over it. This is a Phillips screw that holds the plate in place. I seem to have misplaced it. Oh, there it is. Somewhere. Alright, put the plate back on and the screw back on. It's a Phillips bit. Just tighten it snug. Doesn't have to be really any tighter than that. Now the disposal is ready to go back underneath the sink. Make sure you have those 1.5 inch nut, the washers, everything's tight and ready to go. You can put it back in. Well, we've lost our light, so we're going to try to at least narrate the best we can. When you put it back in, you're basically doing the opposite of what you did to take it out. You want to try to put the 90-degree pipe into the extended pipe first, then guide the top to the strainer. Once you've got it to the strainer, you want to try to get your locking ring in the right place, so that way when you go to twist and tighten it, like you hear me doing there with the disposal wrench, if you'll hear it, you'll hear what sounds like a rubber grinding across when it gets tight. There you go. So now that it's tight, nice and tight, all 3 rings are in there, it should be good to go. Then you want to make sure that you get your 1.5 inch pipe locking nut locked down on the pipe, on the extended pipe. Plug the disposal back in and give it a try. Get it nice and tight. Make sure everything's good to go. Plug it in. Turn on the water first. Double check to make sure you don't have any leaks. Make sure it's not leaking out of the base, out of the top of the collar, out of anything that you've loosened in the process of doing the job. As you can see here, there isn't any. Got the water running. And now that we got it plugged in, we can give it a try. Should always run a disposal and water at the same time. It will damage the disposal if you don't. And if you can hear it, I'm turning it off and on, making sure everything's good. And when I'm done, I like to leave them a disposal wrench just in case they get something jammed in there. And I take the one I brought with me when I came. And now that's how it is to just change a disposal.